This came across my desk, and I'm wondering where other people fall in the line. The question is, fans debate original Resident Evil games versus remakes after Requiem launch. Just days after Requiem launches, Tony Resonance of Evil, one big boss, posts calls out newcomers to play the original in release order, from tank controls and fixed cameras to modern action horror. Purists cheer the authentic tension and campy charm of early entries like RE1 and RE2, while others warn the control feels unplayable today and recommends remakes as easier gateways. The split highlights accessibility against the raw survival horrors that build a 150 million copy franchise. So let's look at the original post then. My advice is for anybody wanting to start the series, play the original first, like the actual original first, not the remake. Play each game in the order they came out, because it's a journey to watch a franchise evolve as you go through it for the first time. And that's when did the first went? That's 1980 something. Wait, hold on. Resident Evil 1. The game first came out in 1996. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull up the receipt of Resident Evil of just games alone, right? Let's see. Let's how do we filter hide game itself, just by the game itself. Let's look at this for a frame of reference, because for all intents and purposes, this title, I believe, is the remake title, is the remastered HD version, right? This is the remaster. Is this the remake? I don't know, because we have Resident Evil available, Resident Evil 4, 2. This is the 2 remake. Can you play even the original 2? Oh, I guess you could. Let me see this. Wait. This is the remake. Okay. So how else would you? So what about the PlayStation Store? Oh, PlayStation. Let me see if I can look it up on the PlayStation Store. Resident Evil. Can you actually believe this? How do you filter this? Okay, so here's how I might as well. I have the PlayStation Store available out. Xbox Resident Evil. Let's see if I can't find Resident Evil on here as well. Hold on. We are looking just the game alone. Just the game. Okay, so now that I've in person compiled the list, like, yep, take based on this advice, we have to look at if the ability to play the 1996 version of Resident Evil 1 is possible. So in order to get this copy of let me make me bigger, okay? Me make me bigger. So in order to actually do what Tony suggests, you have to somehow get a working PlayStation 1, which costs a certain barrier of entry, hoping that you can somehow get cables to connect to a current TV, or you have to buy a CRTV to play the PlayStation 1, right? That's first and foremost. And then you buy the game. How do you buy the 1990s? What's the? Hold on. Let me see. Let me look. 1996 Resident Evil game. Where to buy it? Where would you buy that? Where would you buy that? Okay, if you look at GOG, let's look at GOG for example. Let's see what happens. You can buy it on GOG. That's nice. You can buy it on GOG, and then what would the platform be on? Would it be a launcher? Okay. Windows 10, that's what you need. Cloud saves, overlay. What platform? What platform would you be playing this on? So you can play this on GOG. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to figure this out. Where to play 1996 Resident Evil 1996. The rest of here's the problem. Yeah, via GOG. The best way to play the original is through GOG, updated for modern systems, or by using the DuckStation emulator to play the director's cut. Other options include the original console hardware, and I'm not familiar with GOG, but I do know I do know that if we touch the Steam link, it goes straight to the 2015 copy. So there's that problem, right? In itself, to where if you want to play it in its originality, there's a barrier of finding a working PlayStation 1, finding the controls, finding the adapter to plug in that PlayStation 1, and then being able to then attempt to play it and hope that the disc works, right? Because you wouldn't know the quality that the disc comes in, right? So how would you know? How would you know the quality of the disc, right? So you do that, and then you play. Wait, what? Let's first, for the normal person who doesn't do the what's the word? What's the purist's path to playing this game? You can go through Steam, right? What do you have? They have the 2015 copy, the 2019 copy. What is it? There because like there's no like earlier copy, right? Resident Evil 3. What do they have Nemesis? You can't even play Nemesis on. The only way to play the original games, my understanding, is the emulators or through GOG, or in this case PlayStation, because this PlayStation allows. This is the 1915 version, but you can play the old Resident Evil 2 version. There's that version of Resident Evil 2. Let's see. There's also Nemesis. You can play Nemesis here. That's good. You can play the 2005 version of Resident Evil 4. I have played it. I plan on playing. Oh, there's the director's cut. There's the director's cut. You can play it on PlayStation. Okay, cool. You can play it on the PlayStation platform, but that also means you needed the barrier of entry of PlayStation 4 to play that game, right? That's my understanding, is that you need to get your own PlayStation 4 minimum to play all these games. Oh, wait, hold on. Back that booty up. There's also Pre-order. Oh, that's just pre-order bonus. Never mind. But essentially, you have the option to I don't believe. Can you play? Can you play PlayStation games on PC through streaming it via? Huh. You can play your own console remotely. How would you do that? I don't know how that works. Stream via PlayStation Plus, cloud streaming, or purchasing native ports on Steam and Epic Games. Those are your barrier of entries for playing the PlayStation catalog on PS on PC. Let's look at the article. PlayStation gaming on PC US. Ooh, let's open that up. PlayStation PC. What controls peripheral supported? How to pair your controller? Games. How to download a game on Steam or Epic? What games are available? Would this just take you to the Steam page or something? Yeah, because, okay, so let's see. For example, like, it's funny to where when you go to the proprietary website of PlayStation PC games, it directs you to, hey, play on Steam or play on Epic. Play on Steam or Epic. Play on Steam. Steam, Epic, Epic, Steam, Epic, Epic, Steam, Steam, Epic, Epic, Steam. It keeps going. Oh, Helldivers, the original Helldivers can only play on Steam, not Epic. Okay. But that's the problem, though. That then it doesn't change the fact that you are limited from the library. Because what if you want to play... I guess that's the thing. What if you want to play this copy, but you can't? Because Steam only provides the remake, right? So... And then even Xbox themselves, I don't even. Oh, hold on. Let me check on my Xbox app. Let's see, what can the app do. Resident Evil. Resident Evil filter by. I'm trying to separate the Evil West. That's not good. There's Resident Evil 2. That's the remake Village. Biohazard 7. What is it? Oh god. Okay, that is telling. As I'm looking at the launcher for Xbox, doesn't do that. But if you have your own so again, you need the barrier of entry of an actual Xbox, and then you can then access things like Operation Raccoon. You can do the triple pack here. You can do what is it? The 2005 version here. You can do. Okay, wait. Learn. What do you mean learn more? Oh, okay. Let's see. What is the oldest version that this store has available? 4. So looks like this one so far. Wow. You can't even play the older versions. And even then, even if I do this, you can do... You would buy it for what platform, though? Would that be a platform for the main console itself? So Xbox might not be a good idea if that's the only platform that you have. If you don't have an Xbox, then good freaking luck. Let's say you play the director's cut. You need a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 in order to play this game. right? Looks like yeah. Looks like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. You need one of those two to play the director's cut of the original game. And that means you need to spend up to like $300, $400 to do that. But that's if you want the purists route, right? I need you people to try and play the earlier games, take controls, are easy to learn. You need to try to more than 15 minutes. Legit, get some friends together, work together to play the games like we did. Does it account for the attention span of people that are younger than Tony? I don't know. It generally RE1 remake is generally better. It has more content than the original. I'd say OG is safe to skip, but sadly all the other remakes loses something in which makes the originals great. 2 and 4 are still quite good. Is there anything that is there? That's my question. Is there any content missing when playing Re2R and Re4R? Because that's a genuine question, because that's the pathway that I'm going on. That's the pathway that I'm currently on, because I do want to play. Resident Evil 4 Remake has been sitting in my library for the longest time. That's my genuine question. I will have to ask I will say that it's a journey to watch a franchise evolve as you go through its first time. I would argue if you can't, because here's the thing, if you don't have access to, if you don't, actually, let's look at the, rather than clowning on myself, let's look at the requotes on the quotes to see. Shitty advice, because the original 3 parts are completely different genres of games, after which you won't want to play any of the other parts. It's like playing the first 2 Fallouts and dropping the third because it's not just the same anymore. I was thrilled with the 3 original regs, but everything after that I had zero desire to even touch. Especially after the botched Re3 remake, which is just straight up crap. Which is honestly true. Resident Evil 3 remake was, it took away the gem that allowed you to almost choose your own adventure. Because Resident Evil Nemesis, I believe, had a situation to where you can choose what direction you can go in certain choices, and that definitely affected the way the game ended. But the Re3 remake made the story so linear to a specific path that, for a lot of people I've heard, made them feel less like they had an impact in the story compared to Resident Evil 2 remake that came before it, where Resident Evil 2 remake, what you did in the A route affected the B route. Some things in the A route will show up or change in the B route. That is a consequence of choice. It's not a negative consequence, but it's a consequence all the same, right? So that much I understand, that much I agree. It's hard to agree that this is a shit advice, because again, the beginning of this video had me bring up concerns of barrier of entries, right? Because let's look up is GOG safe to use? GOG is safe, legitimate, and reputable digital source for purchasing PC games. Focus on DRM-free games, meaning you truly own the purchase, which is nice. Play them without any internet connections. It's an alternative to Steam. Okay, that is good to know. Interesting. That is interesting to know. Okay, good. So you can either play games on GOG, you can play games on Steam. Not a lot of people know Steam. Not a lot of people know GOG. So there's several barriers of entry. There's barriers of entry with Steam to where you don't own the property, but that's neither here or there. You have to guarantee. Yeah, this advice from Tony is based on the fact that you have a computer or you have a console, and some people may not have that availability. So you have to be very cautious with certain like advices. But he has a preference that people should go through the 1996 version. So that's like, again, do I think it's correct? I think his purest route. Hold on. Okay, cool. That's interesting tea. Anyways, this tea, they say They say it's a shitty take. I would ask the question like, is it a bad take because Resident Evil? I guess it makes sense though because the Resident Evil 2 remake became a different game from Resident Evil 2 proper. Because I don't think I've played the original Resident Evil 2, but how different are the controls between Re 2 and Re 2 remake? How different? Fundamentally different, shifting from rigid fixed camera tank controls to modern third person over shoulder shooting mechanic. See, oh yeah, so that's okay. Whoa. Are they fundamentally different as well? Yeah, because like the remake 2, remake 3 are fundamentally different games. So, but if it was a remaster like Resident Evil and Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2015 was, that's fair. You can play the first one. That's perfectly fine. Playing the first one, playing the Resident Evil remaster is a good substitute for Resident Evil 96. The problem is Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 2 remake are different games. So yeah, it's if you have the ability to do 96 before everything else and go through launch order, then sure, you're more than welcome to do so. But again, the commitment, do you have the time commitment to do so? And some people may not have that ability. Don't listen to advice and start playing. Wait. Don't listen to such advice and start playing Resident Evil with either. Okay, wait, what? Start playing. Don't listen to such an advice. If you're under 30 or games are mostly entertainment for you with all the modern conveniences, rather than an exploration of how it was and how it became, then quite likely the originals won't bore you to death. On the contrary. So the advice is, play what's convenient. If you're under 30 and if you're under 30 and you won't be bored by it, if you want to see it, that's available to you. But definitely make the choices based on what's convenient. Like if you only have time for what's currently available, and do that, and then make time for the previous content. Because I can definitely say playing Resident Evil 4 normal and 4 remake, same experience, but it's definitely a new coat of paint when you play Resident Evil 4. I don't know what I'm saying. I think different strokes for different folks. Tony really believes that you should start with Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil 96, preferably. But again, if you want to play the Resident Evil 9 raw, you can do that. And if you want to figure out how he got there, play Resident Evil 2, play Resident Evil 4, and then if you play the titles that follows your favorite characters. That's my advice. My advice at the end of this: play the Resident Evil games that follow the characters that you like. If you like Action Man, Leon Kennedy, play 2, play 4, play 6. If you want to play Boulder Shoulders McGee, Boulder Punching Chris, play 1, play 5, play 6, play 7, right? That's ultimately play. You should play Resident Evil. How long to beat? You should play Resident Evil games based on how long it takes to beat them. Resident Evil. Let's see Resident Evil as a whole, right? Let's check out all the games. Resident Evil 2002. Oh, is that the remaster? Roughly 6 hours, roughly 11 hours, roughly 10, roughly 9, 16, 10, 6. That didn't feel like 6. It felt shorter. 9, 12, 21, 15, 11, 10, 9. 80 hours for Resistance. I guess that makes sense if you're looking into like multiplayer that doesn't exist anymore. 10 hours, 5 hours, 6, 7, 11. You need, if your time is valuable to you, play your games based on how long it takes to beat it, because your time is valuable. If you don't have the time to go through it based on a release, if you don't have that, that's the problem already too. There's like that means Tony. Hey, you. I know you love your game, but you're asking them to commit 7 hours, then 19, 28, 39, and it just keeps getting bigger from there, right? Don't do that. Don't push. You can suggest it, but don't push it. And I'm telling you to calm your tits, okay? That's my take on it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong or right. But yeah, that's it.